Good morning.
Good morning.
We welcome each of you to our UUCGT February 16th Sunday service. Today we will consider what liberation requires. Promoting the freedom of liberation cannot happen on an individual level. It would be way too hard. We must work toward relieving the many challenges of oppression through the strength we gain from leaning on the enthusiasm, resourcefulness, and stamina of like-minded individuals. In this Sunday service, we will explore ways to find our own preferred methods to contribute to liberation based on the many strengths and interests we already possess. We cannot achieve this alone. I added gladiolus to today's setting table as their Latin name is little sword. And they represented in the day, and maybe even today, striving for strength and moral integrity in a world where both need defending. Striving for strength and moral integrity. I'm Ann Stevenson, a member of the Sunday Services Committee, and we're delighted to have you here with us today, whether you're here in person or streaming from home. We embrace diversity and welcome you just as you are to our beloved community. Those flowers are kind of tall over there. If you're visiting, or if you've been absent for a while, and you would like to introduce yourself, please raise your hand, and Chris will bring you the microphone. This will help you to be heard by all, including those streaming from home.
Hi, good morning. My name's Doug Ferguson, and I'm here with Kate Husband, and my son is Tristan, who you've probably seen a few times, and I'm visiting from my posting at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City.
Now, all congregants and visitors, and we're going to have new members today, are encouraged to join us in the social hall following the service. Please take a yellow mug so we can introduce ourselves to you and get to know you a little bit. Sharing our joys and concerns with the UU congregation helps us stay connected. Ann Sweeney, a member of the congregational care team, will share your joys and concerns later in the service. Please write your joys or concerns or light a candle at the table where the couple candles are lit over there when you arrive, or you may do so during our centering music, which is right now.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires.
We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to
whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, the senior minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. And welcome to this community, this place of refuge amidst the turbulence of the storms of life. As we gather this morning, I want to do something that's a bit countercultural for us as UUs and give you a blessing. Blessing is a word we don't often say, but is absolutely a part of our tradition in the ways that we serve and take care of ourselves and our neighbors. So this morning, I want to offer you this blessing written by Adrienne Marie Brown, who is an activist, healer, and author, and a radical visionary for our times. And so I invite you to receive this blessing as she offers it to you. It is not enough to whisper our discontent, to write to each other with gaping mouths. We are not observers. We are no audience. At stake is our freedom. It races the miles of our sacred bodies. Without it, we cannot claim to be holy, to be human. Our no makes the only way for our necessary yes. A blessing on your slowed work, your boundaries, a blessing on your no. A blessing on your marches, your public stands, your private ones, your radical art, your rebel call, your altar work, your ancestors, and the songs they pour through you. A blessing on your dignity, your duty. A blessing on our children, all of them ours. A blessing on your subversive care, your masks and meds, your passing for safety, your safe houses. A blessing on your sit-ins and blockades, your shutdowns, your strikes, your seed banks, the land you love, the truths you teach, the books you save, and the truths you tell. A blessing on our dream of democracy, only realized through our everyday bodies, and a blessing on the people who were only given the earth.
As we light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalist, please join me in reading the covenant words which are found on the back of your order of service. Our covenant. You are accountable for me. Oh, I'm sorry. Accountable for you. Forgot my glasses. In the community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome all as we respond to the needs of the world. As the singing bowl fades, we will enter a time of stillness.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 114, found in your gray hymnal, Forward Through the Ages.
Move the faithful spirit. stuck in my driveway for about half an hour, but I got here. Huzzah! Oh, goodness gracious. Happy Northern Michigan winter, people. Hi, I'm happy to see you. How is everyone this morning? People. What's up? I don't know if there's space for you to sit next to me, but you can try. Hi. What's up? Yeah, don't step on the library book. How's everybody doing this morning? Are we good? How's everybody doing out here this morning? Hello. Good morning. All right, I have a story for us this morning that actually is for us and for the grown-ups. Can you scooch back just a little bit, my friend? Thank you. Because this is also tying into Reverend Alex's sermon today. So this is by the same author that the grown-ups are going to be talking about too. So this is We Are the Builders by Deepa Iyer. So how many of you like to help people in your community? Ada does. Elliot does. Oliver does. Ellie does. Good. We all like to help people in our community, right? We have lots of people in our community that need help in different ways. What are different ways that we like to help? How do we help people? In our schools, in our communities, our neighbors, how do we help? Not sure yet? Maybe if we read this book, maybe we can think about it. Welcome to our community day. Ready to find your role to play? My name is Ramla. I'm your guide. Follow me and stay by my side. So many grown-ups and kids are here. Everyone wants to volunteer. There's plenty to do in our town. Help new friends plant new trees in the ground. The time is now. Let's all play a part. Listen and learn. What moves your heart? We are the builders. We form and forge, construct and fix, improve homes with nails and bricks. See those old desks, tables, and chairs? Good as new with some repairs. Who wants to join the builders? Do we have any builders out here? Are you builders? Do you like to build? I know some of you like to build Legos.
My grandpa.
Your grandpa's a builder?
He built a few sets for plays.
Cool. Oh yeah, he built sets for plays, for musicals and stuff, didn't he? Yeah. Yeah, we've got lots of builders around here. What about you guys? Do you like to build? I like to build Legos too. I love building Legos. We are the caregivers. We comfort, console, soothe, and cheer. Care kits for all, near and dear. Acts of service and words that mend. How can I help, my new friend? Who wants to join the caregivers? Who likes taking care of people? Yeah, I see some caregivers out here. We are the frontline responders. We plan and protect, stay prepared. Storms brewing, but don't be scared. Stock cans of soup, bags of fresh fruits. Gather warm coats, gloves, and boots, and shovels for when people get stuck in their driveway. Who wants to join the frontline responders? We are the disruptors. We declare, demand, and demonstrate. Call for change. Don't hesitate. Raise our voices, banners, and beats. Meet and march out in the streets. Who wants to join the disruptors? Yeah, let's do it. We are the experimenters. We scan, invent, and improvise. Solve hard problems with fresh eyes. What if these used bottles and rags could become backpacks and bags? Who wants to join the experimenters? Ellie does. I was going to say, this sounds like an Ellie. This sounds like all of you, actually. You're all very creative. You all come up with great solutions for things. We are the visionaries. We dream, imagine, and inspire a world we can all admire. Fresh air, clean water, safe and free. Bright futures, that's what we see. Who wants to join the visionaries? Yeah, we've got lots of visionaries around here. We are the weavers. We stitch, we braid, we intertwine. Common threads link hearts and minds. When people fight or disagree, find what connects you and me. Who wants to join the weavers? Yeah, we've got some weavers around here. We are the healers. We renew, restore, and relieve. Tend to those who cry and grieve.
Sometimes when the world is too much, we nurture with breath and touch. Who wants to join the healers? Good. We are the storytellers. We've definitely got some of these around here. We sing, we dance, we create art, bring joy and love. I see 2 hands way up high already. Let's go. Bring joy and love heart to heart. Vibrant murals preserve our past, histories cherished at last. Who wants to join the storytellers? Yeah, all of our artists, all of our creative people. Of all the different roles to play, which one feels like you today? You could become a guide like me, show new folks what they can be. We mentor, we advise, we steer, share wisdom, honest and clear. Now that it's clear what we can each do, we want to hear from all of you. What role would you choose? Who would you be? How will you change your community? So this is our turn on the next one. It says, we are the builders ends with the question, what role would you choose? Now it's your turn to pick the roles that represent you. This is the social change ecosystem map, which is what the grown-ups are going to be talking about more today too. In the middle yellow circle, we identify our core values and beliefs. Then we explore the 10 roles that we could play. When we all play our roles and build relationships with one another, we can change the world. So what does everybody think? What's one thing that you want to be today? Do you want to be a weaver, an experimenter, a responder? And you're an experimenter today? What do you think? Experimenter today, storyteller, a disruptor, a caregiver? What do you think? I think we want to be all the things, but we can't be all the things, everything all at once, right? But I think you all have all of these amazing skills. We've got storytellers in here. We've got experimenters. We've got caregivers. We've got people who like to give hugs, right? Who like to take care of each other. Your brother loves to give hugs. Exactly. All right, friends, should we sing our song? Oh, one more thing, grown-ups also, kids and grown-ups. We have, during our social hour today, I have a fun little connection activity for all of us. It's a little bingo game that we're going to play. So those will be available out in the social hall, and the kids will be running around with them. But we'll be connecting with each other and finding the different ways that we fit in this little map. Sound good? All right, let's sing our song. Does anybody want to help Miss Anne Marie lead? Go ahead. You don't have to.
Would you join us in singing Spinners and Weavers today?
We are children of the stars, we are children of the earth, we are spinners and weavers in this web of life, and the joy that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being. We are children of tomorrow, we are children of our dreams. We are planners and builders in this web of life, and the future that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being.
Are we ready? Let's go. Ouch.
Good morning. So, I am Chris Lautz. I'm chairperson of the membership committee. And I want to introduce the members that we have here. We have John Hoffman, Rick Walter, Jane Watts, and missing are Chris Walter and Peter Brower. Okay, so we're going to be introducing our newest members. I want y'all to come forward. Bring your insert with you. So I'm going to read your names, but just come on up and line up in front of the podium area. So we have Claude and Pat Fields, Nancy Check Allen and Bill Allen, Fred Shapansky, June Thadden, Diane and Larry. I combined your names there if you noticed. Diane and Larry Jones. And I apologize if I butchered anybody's name. Okay, so as you stand in front, I will say your name, and what I need you to do is one step forward so people know we're talking about you. And when I'm done, you can step back and the next person can step forward. So I'm going to start with Claude Fields. When I first read about the church's 6 values surrounding love, I knew this was the church I had been searching for. I believe that everything has a soul, and the soul stands for source of universal love. I believe that people have the right to follow their own spiritual path, whatever that might be. My mother taught me all good things come to those that wait. I guess that's why it took me so long to get there. So I forgot to say how we're introducing people. These members were asked, give us 2 things you want the congregation to know about you, and then they will have a bio and a picture in the next monthly beacon when it comes out. So these are abbreviated how to get to know it. Okay, Pat Fields. I have been told by many that I am a logical thinker. I am quiet, but when I talk, I have thought it through. I love all the seasons. Fall used to be my favorite season, but since moving here, I find spring to be the best. Watching all of the flowers and trees come alive, watching the deer and birds change color. We live in the woods, and it is a beautiful place to be. Nancy Check Allen. The 2 things that you might like to know about me are that I'm a serial creative. I began my early days in art school, barber college, culinary school, as an author, a soul college facilitator, and caustic painter, and now working in a Masters of Art program. In all of my pursuits, I have been driven to marry my creative forces with my psychological and spiritual needs and to find meaning and healing. My favorite discovery is that God is creativity, and creativity connects us with God. Now, Bill Allen. I have been a working artist for over 50 years. I emerged from pre-med biology college education. I appreciate living a quiet, rural existence with much solitude. It supports an inward focus of creativity. And now John's going to introduce the rest of you.
Okay, Fred Shapansky. Welcome, Fred. At a time of turmoil in Fred's life, after being fired as music director 10 weeks prior to his retirement from 34 plus years of dedicated service to St. Francis Church, he has found acceptance, peace, and love at the UUCGT, which has helped him to get through this dark period of his life. June Thaden. June says, I grew up in Midland, Michigan, devoted to my cello and study at Michigan State, where I met and married a fellow student, became mother of 4 children, and after 25 years our marriage ended. I moved to Traverse City in 1980 to be a librarian at the college and also to be myself, becoming an avid bicyclist, biker, and backpacker, traveling to many countries and volunteering for many organizations. Thanks, June. Diane Jones. I taught advanced placement calculus in high school for 31 years in Florida before retiring. Now I have to say, I only studied calculus in college, for God's sake. Anyway, I enjoy gardening, playing piano, crochet, embroidery, and other things. Not great at any of these activities, but I enjoy them. All right. And Larry Jones. Larry grew up as a military brat and moved every year until high school in Warner Robins, Georgia. Then graduated from the University of Georgia with a degree in physics. He enjoys learning about consciousness and UAPs, which I'm not quite sure what that is, but Larry can tell us, and is a member of MUFON, which is Mutual UFO Network. Thanks, Larry. Okay. Now, I get to stay a little longer. Okay, so as an introduction to this special time of welcoming new members, we share these words, which are adapted and abbreviated from an unknown author. We, the current members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse, welcome you into our circle of love and commitment. May you find comfort here, for life often carries with it pain. So may you find joy in the shared gifts of life and love. May you be challenged here, for questioning is a source of love and learning. May you add your voice to ours, finding harmony in the diversity we affirm. May you build on your faith here, a faith that sustains you during life's transitions. May you find your spiritual home here, creating with us a community that welcomes all. Above all, may you help us to create a better world, cultivating human wholeness and authentic interdependence. Oops, sorry. Yikes.
And now you are going to be part of the ceremony today too. So please turn to the insert in your order of service as new members, and I will read the covenant, the new members and I will read the covenant together, followed by the congregational response. This is a welcoming of the new members by Manish Mishara Marzetti. And now, for you, new members recite in unison the new covenant. Whoever is doing this section, I'm going to be reading along with you as you do that. So, new members, we enter this faith with a hope and possibility in our hearts, pledging to participate in and support the ministries of this congregation. We covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through this church and guides us. We seek your welcome as we join you in this faith. And now, congregation, we welcome you as once we were welcomed ourselves. We seek to be open and inclusive, respecting the inherent dignity, your ideas, and your vision, in times when it is easy, in times when it is difficult. We seek to be supportive, not only when you reach out in courage to us, but also when we move to you. In return, we ask that you recognize our humanity. We will not always live up to our ideals, and when we fall short, we invite you to stay in relationship to us, and with more fully bring alive the spirit of love. We welcome you as an equal member of this congregation, of this faith, and of the shared. Now, we welcome you, each of you, to this community of caring, of social justice action, of learning and wisdom, and so much more. Thank you.
So we hand out to our new members, there's a little gift bag that Chris Walters puts together, and it is stocked with mostly stuff. The only thing I think that isn't from Michigan is the UU pocket guide. And then we have a folder that has all kinds of information, any question you might be asking. But if you come up with another question, you know where to find membership at the welcome table.
We're going to welcome our new members with a quick song. The words will be up on the screen, and you can join in with me when you feel so moved.
And come to the welcome table after the service, because you have to sign the book. I knew there was something I was missing.
Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Thank you.
And I want to apologize to Nancy. I mispronounced. It's Krek, not Czech. Kerchek? Okay, I mispronounced it again. Kerchek. Everybody in unison.
Today, we are kicking off our annual budget drive to support the mission and work of UUCGT. Our theme this year is Ignite Our Mission. Let's watch some testimonials from some familiar faces here at UUCGT.
What brought me to UUCGT was my parents. When I was about 6 and the church was on Washington Street, I stayed because that was what we did on Sundays. But as I got older and had the choice to stay, I stayed for the youth group. And it was so important to me as a teenager that I want our kids to have that too.
What brought me to UUCGT was Betsy. I had no idea what UU was till I met her. And then when we moved back to Traverse City, it was just a natural thing to join the community.
Well, I started coming a little over 2 years ago when I first moved to Traverse City, and I was looking for community and also a place to explore my spirituality. Soul Matter stuff is definitely where I've more so leaned into the questions. For me, that's what spirituality is about, having open conversations.
We first came to UUCGT in the summer of 19, moved back to Michigan after we retired. We weren't quite sure if we would be a fit with this congregation. What we had was a series of lay-led services with usually several voices from the congregation talking. We got this wonderful feeling of the people. We really became right enamored.
My background is Lutheran. When I was in high school, threw on my ripped up jeans and went to church and was belittled by the pastor. It was a really horrible feeling. When I show up at church, I really feel like everyone can show up as they are. I just rolled out of bed and was barely able to get there. That's fine, you know? That's what radical love just exemplifies.
First of all, let me just say, I just love our new mission statement. I feel like it just is exactly who we are. All four of those parts of our mission statement are inextricably linked. When we invited Mr. Fred into our congregation, it added a depth and spark. Not only were we doing this because it was the right thing to do, but how much it could enrich us. Isn't that radical love?
My favorite one is embodying radical love. It was through UUCGT that I started to get involved in Safe Harbor.
Lifelong learning has always been important to me. In the course of our modern life, it is easy to drift, just to get caught up. The act of coming every Sunday is something that is grounding.
Engaging in lifelong learning and being able to ask questions, that all questions were okay to ask. It's also okay not to have the answers, and that there's really nothing off limits as long as it's from a place of love. Also embodying radical love, specifically because of the 4 years that we have ahead of us. I think it's just imperative that we continue to support our vulnerable neighbors.
There just is such a strong need. Being able to come someplace on Sunday and being with like-minded people about the things that are so important in our lives right now, to feel like we're not out there alone.
Belonging to a larger community. Misfits. I feel like if I want to keep calling myself a Unitarian Universalist, I have to work to live those values. That first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of all people, can be really hard.
Cliche, but come as you are. UU is a special place. I hope it can keep being the place that it was, when I needed it.
Our sanctuary is packed. I would love to see our youth programming expand and to see more young people. Taking care of the most vulnerable, liberal religion is so essential right now. I would love to see our influence in the wider community continue to grow. In a nutshell, truth, community, commitment.
There's something to be taken away from every service. Every week, it's enriching, welcoming.
I think that OWL and comprehensive sex ed is a really important part of social justice, giving youth the tools to make choices that are socially and personally responsible. I would love to see UUCGT expand the reach of it. Inspiring.
Now it's time for our February 16th offering, and please give generously to support our vital community. You'll note our offering baskets have two sides, congregation and community needs. This slide describes more ways to support UU. You may always designate your support as for the congregation, for the community needs, or for some combination of the two.
The first strange town I was ever in, Washed my face in the morning dew, and I kept on moving along. The second strange town that I was in, they were laughing at a poor crippled man, begging for nickels and dimes on the street. I just didn't understand. So I washed my face in the morning dew, bathed my soul in the sun, washed my face in the morning dew, and I kept on moving along. The third strange town I was ever in was settled, peaceful, and nice. The rich got richer while the poor got poorer, and to me it just didn't seem right. So I washed my face in the morning dew, bathed my soul in the sun, washed my face in the morning dew, and I kept on moving along. Someday things are bound to change. It can't be very far. And each injustice that I have seen must come before the bar. Then I'll wash my face in the morning dew, bathe my soul in the sun, wash my face in the morning dew, then my journey will be done.
Hello. My name is Ann Swaney. I'm the Joys and Concerns person today. Now is the time that we set aside in our services where we name and honor the joys and concerns that mark our lives, the milestones and moments of our lived experiences. I will be sharing the joys and concerns that were offered up for us to hold in our hearts as we are gathered. If you have a joy or concern that is a bit too tender or raw to share in our service, I invite you to reach out to Reverend Alex or a member of the congregational care team. Congregational care team members, anybody here? Raise your hand, please. Okay, good thing I came today. Or you may also simply light a candle to honor your heart's concerns as you are held in the love that is gathered here. None of us was ever meant to travel life's journeys alone. And this is what has been offered up to share this morning from Miriam Pico-Younts. Concern for all of the people in our community being affected by this severe cold and flu season. And a special shout out to my son Gideon, who is sick today. And a joy for this community. I am so grateful for. I love you all, and then there's cartoon hearts all across the next line. And from Kim Greavy, a candle for all of the thousands of federal workers whose lives have suddenly been turned upside down by the unmerited immediate elimination of their jobs. And for the many recipients of the programs they administered. It's a very sad time for our nation. I have a joy I'd like to share too. It's my joy to have just seen my colleague and friend June Thaden becoming a member of our congregation today. We're going to benefit from her presence. There are also a couple of additional concerns to add. I heard from Barbary a couple of days ago that she is currently suffering from a compressed fracture of the spine and may eventually need laser treatment. And then from Dave and Judith Halstead, a concern. Some of you members that have been here for a long time remember they used to sit in that far back corner for years and years and years. And this is from their son, Dave. As some of you may already know, David Halstead, a longtime member of this congregation, has entered hospice care at his residence in an assisted living facility in Illinois. David and Judith moved to the Chicago area a few years ago, but have always viewed Traverse City and this church as their true home. They both look back with joy and warmth on the happy years they spent and the lifelong friendship and love they found in northern Michigan. As David and his family enter this new phase of life together, they ask for your good thoughts and good wishes. Finally, from Kate Hansen, a concern. Today and all days, I am grateful to have had my mother-in-law Jean as part of my family. I am deeply saddened by her passing last week and will miss our in-depth political conversations and our regular book talks. She served her community, was a justice seeker, and a wonderful grandmother to my children. And now let us hold a moment of silence for the joys and concerns that remain in the silence of our hearts.
Would you join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation? This is a blessing, a prayer written by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker, titled, Choose to Bless the World. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, and waiting. Any of these can feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, and do the work of justice or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. Amen. Let us now sing Spirit of Life together.
My name is Mike Radke. I'm the co-chair of the Social Justice Action Committee for this congregation, along with Mary Van Valen, and I'm proud to be here this morning. Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Social Change Now, a guide for reflection and connection by Deepa Iyer. In this excerpt, she describes why our work for social change is necessary for our times now. She writes, "My friend Kevin Fong, who is a healer and a weaver, once shared a story with me about Grace Lee Boggs, a Detroit-based Asian American activist and scholar. Just so happens that I got a chance to meet Grace Lee Boggs. She was in her 90s at the time. Her base of operations was a 3-story dilapidated school or house on a block where there were no other houses. They were all gone. This was at the pit of the decline of the city of Detroit. At the start of community meetings, Grace would begin with a question. What time is it on the clock of the world? When I reflect on the question, I often have the palpable and sometimes urgent feeling that the time is ripe. The time is now. The time is immediate for social change. We are living through a time that demands our attention and requires our consistent action. People around the world are confronting wars, climate disaster, economic inequity, and unprecedented levels. Here in the United States, we face an almost daily barrage of attacks and restrictions on the rights, the bodies, and the livelihoods of people, of our neighbors, of our families. The violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol in 2021 came on the heels of a polarizing presidential election that followed 4 years of bans, walls, and raids against communities. The global pandemic has exposed the weaknesses of public systems and institutions that we have long relied upon, from education to housing to our own health. The visible presence of white nationalist groups is spurring fear. Transgender youth feel unsafe in schools and on our streets. Climate change is a continual threat to everyone on the entire planet. Our belief in the promise of social change through connection with one another is why we keep trying after feeling disappointment, why we keep returning after grieving, why we keep fighting after resting. It's why we infuse our efforts with joy, passion, affirmation, and healing. We intuitively know that something better is blooming, growing, emerging, and we want to be part of that momentum, that stream, that journey. How can each of us contend with the urgency of this time with effectiveness, sustainability, and strong connections? How can we embody grace, joy, and accountability even when the external forces of division and inequity are restless?
So I want to start today with a story that might be familiar to some of you. It is known as the parable of the long spoons. Has anyone heard this parable before? Yeah, a few of you. So the story goes, long ago there lived an old woman who wished to know the difference between heaven and hell. The monks in the temple agreed and said, "First, you shall see hell," and put a blindfold around her eyes. And when the blindfold was removed, the old woman was standing before a large dining hall full of round tables laden with foods, meats, vegetables, fruits, and breads, desserts of all kinds. However, the woman noticed that there were people seated around those tables, their bodies thin and gaunt, each person holding a spoon that was 3 feet long. The spoons were so long that the people could reach the food, but could not get the food back to their mouths. As the old woman watched, she heard their hungry cries and said, "I've seen enough. Please let me see heaven." And so the blindfold was put around her eyes. And when it was removed, the old woman was quite confused. For there she stood at the same entrance to the dining hall, filled with round tables covered in the same lavish feast. And again, she saw that there were people sitting just out of arm's reach of food with those same long spoons. But as the old woman looked closer, she noticed that the people were well fed, with rosy and happy faces. As she watched, a joyous sound of laughter filled the air, and soon the old woman was laughing too. For now she understood the difference between heaven and hell. The difference was the people in heaven were using the long spoons to feed each other. What I love about this parable is how it illustrates a theme that our Universalist and Unitarian ancestors have long held, that rather than an afterlife of eternal damnation, hell truly only exists in this life, and the conditions for suffering and oppression that we either make or break together. In the midst of the suffering that we ourselves experience, and the suffering we see of our neighbors, it's on us to use our gifts to feed one another, to ensure that all of us are taken care of and able to live our fullest lives. In today's service, you've been hearing a lot about some of the different roles that each of us can play in bringing about justice, equity, and liberation for all people. Oh, I have my prop here to show you. I also brought a copy of the book we're talking about today, so if you're interested in this, let me know. I find that Deepa Iyer's 10 Roles for Social Change are a really powerful framing when looking for the many challenges and injustices that are facing our world today. 10 necessary and indispensable components to any social movement so that it can not just affect change, but also refrain from burning out. In these times we're in, I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling the burn. Though Iyer's book is just 2 years old, it truly feels like it could have been written yesterday for our times now. Raging wars and climate disasters, poverty and economic inequality, restrictions on the rights, bodies, and livelihoods of people. With the daily news cycle and the unfolding chaos of the barrage of executive orders and attacks on so many areas of daily life, I'm personally finding it really hard to cope. At my worst, I want to put it all away and shut it out, avoiding the news and media, otherwise refusing to pay into this shock and awe economy. And at a base level, I'm scared. Scared for what this future is becoming, for what the future of our country is becoming, with so many constant jabs and pulls at my heart. Please tell me that I'm not alone in this. What we're talking about today may be a newer framework, but it taps into age-old wisdom for our times. The truth that none of us, no matter how wise, smart, talented, or gifted we are, none of us can do it all. That any one of us trying to do all the things will inevitably burn out. The reality is that many of us are skilled at or can even find ourselves in 2 or more of these 10 different roles. Some of us might even play all of these different roles at different points in our lives. Yet not every one of us is as skilled or gifted at doing every one of these roles. In fact, some of these roles might feel a bit uncomfortable for us to wear. What's most profound for me in reading about these 10 roles is the recognition and affirmation that our work for social justice and societal change can actually look a lot of different ways. Many of us know to recognize the more front and center ways of engaging in social justice work. The disruptors who protest and take to the streets with their signs and bullhorns. Frontline responders who jump into action to give others what they need in a time of crisis. Builders who do so much to organize and implement and move these ideas into action. These are all essential roles that many of us think about when we think about social justice work. And yet there's a lot more that we don't often think that is just as necessary in this work. Weavers who bring people together. Caregivers whose gentleness offers a reprieve in the midst of the storm. Healers who help us to know and face our traumas. Storytellers that use art to remind us of who we are and what it is that is our collective story. The takeaway from this is the affirmation that justice work and resisting oppression can look a lot of different ways. No single one of us needs to do it all in order to bring about a society and world we so desperately hope for. The truth is, for us to actually get there, we're going to need to find ways to feed one another with our long spoons. That's what Iyer tells us from our reading that Mike shared earlier, that our belief in the promise of social change through connections with one another is why we keep trying after feeling disappointment, why we keep returning after grieving. It's why we infuse our efforts with joy, passion, affirmation, and healing. We intuitively know that something better is blooming, growing, and emerging, and we want to be a part of that journey. My sermon for you today is to encourage you to do some inner spiritual work, to do some digging, to find which of these roles for social change you align with your skills, personality, and passions. We are in this for the long haul. This is not going to be a sprint. This is a marathon that we've already been running for some time now. If we have any hope of changing this country and world for the better, it's going to require our self-knowledge and our resilience to know how we can be most effective without disengaging or burning ourselves out. So that's the sermon for you, to know thyself. Some of you have already gotten a head start in reading through the Flash last Thursday that was released. We had a picture of the social change ecosystem there and invited you to respond in a survey with the roles and responsibilities that really resonated with you. Well, we received 10 responses overall. We really need to work on our survey response rate there. I might have to start giving some extra Unitarian points to get into heaven, you know. I do have that authority. Yet with those 10 that actually responded, the results are kind of interesting. 5 folks identified as caregivers and weavers, those that create spaces of love and care for those who weave people together with their groups and ideas. 3 folks found themselves to be builders, those who organize and implement ideas and resources. And the rest of the responses got at least 1 vote for each, though none of our respondents felt confident to call themselves frontline responders or visionaries. And I know we have you in our ranks. How many of you are frontline responders or visionaries? I guess it was an accurate survey. Our church is in a lot of trouble if we're not visionaries. I mean, I won't go too hard on you today, I'm sorry. As a congregation, it would be a powerful thing for every one of us to know our roles and how we can mobilize our energy, resources, and time to respond and resist the powers and forces that are at work. These 10 roles are also 10 ways of ministering to the world, 10 ways to be a minister to those around you. In approaching this Sunday's service, I found myself in many conversations with people about their roles in these times we now face. And in one conversation, I was struck by a person's clarity in admitting what they're good at and what they really can't do all that well. This person confessed that they're really not comfortable in large crowds or large groups of people, often feeling guilty that they don't go to enough protests or marches in their lives. Though what they also added is that they have a lot of other skill sets that are helpful and important. Skills at making plans and realizing long-term goals. And I was touched by this because it brought up for me my own feelings of guilt and inadequacy, and feeling like I have to do all these different things or else I'm really not that good of a minister. And in my reflecting about these different roles, I see how ministry itself can indeed weave through all of these in different ways. There are times for being a guide and an experimenter, a disruptor and a healer. While I might lean into these at different times, I now know that doing all of these all at once and all the time is not sustainable. Where my heart comes alive in ministry is in being a caregiver, a storyteller, a visionary, and a weaver. Those are the gifts that I am best suited for, and what I actually need are those of you who can do those other roles better than I can to do those roles. The truth of this is that all of us are needed to build up a better country and world. And what's paramount for us is knowing ourselves and discovering what it is we can dial into and making the most difference. Social justice work is not just leaning into our roles, it's also making room for others to lean in as well, especially in the ways that we're not as able. When all of us know our roles and make space at the table, we can then find joy and resilience in being part of a collective that reminds us that we're not alone. We're going to need something to focus on and distract us from these next 4 years ahead, at least the next 4 years ahead. We cannot give in to the growing exhaustion and despair. We are more resilient when we band together. So what are 3 concrete things that you can do today with this framework and the 10 roles to play? The first of these is to find your own role and to lean into it. Not everyone has to do everything, but everyone has to do something. And I strongly suggest that you get yourself a copy of this book. What's really neat about it is it's written as a guide for reflection. So there are certain parts of this that have checklists, help you identify what your roles are, some spaces even for journaling and reflection in it. It's a really great place to discover what your gifts are. Find the roles that call out to you and play into your strengths, but then commit yourself to those roles for the upcoming years. Now, the second thing that you can do is work in community and not in isolation. Social change happens when we work together. None of these roles exists on its own, and all of us need one another. That is truer now more than ever before. So find others who complement your role. If you're a disruptor, connect with healers who can help you sustain your work. If you're a visionary, find builders who can create the structures to support your growing ideas. Engage with people and groups working toward our shared values, and do not travel this journey alone. And lastly, the final thing that you can do is to balance urgency with sustainability. Justice work is a marathon. It's not a sprint. While some roles respond to immediate crises, like our frontline responders and disruptors, others focus on long-term changes. Both are necessary, and movements also need rest, care, and reflection to endure. Your homework is to create a new rhythm for yourself that not only brings about action, but also cares for your own rest and renewal. If you need to, take time away from those headlines and notifications. Opt out of spaces and conversations that just feel way too heavy for you to hold right now. Make time for the simple joys, the things that fill your cup and renew your spirit. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Your needs are just as important as the needs of others. To close, may each of us find our place in the great work of social justice, finding the roles that call out to us with courage and love. May we journey together knowing that transformation begins in community and that it is sustained by our visions, actions, and by our collective care for one another. And may we go forth with open hearts and steady hands, co-creating a world of greater justice, healing, and hope that is still yet possible. Liberation requires that you play your part. Amen. Would you join me in a brief moment of stillness? We've now come to the time of announcements. I'll try to make this snappy. I know we're going a bit over time today. If any of you are interested in actually having some kind of a group discussion about social change now, let me know. Reach out to me and maybe we can set up a discussion or some kind of group to support that. I've just seen a lot of this start a lot of different conversations for people in our community. For you disruptors out there, all who are interested, tomorrow is the President's Day National Day of Protest, happening tomorrow at noon over at the Government Center on Boardman. This is a nonpartisan protest in defense of and support of democracy. So if you're feeling like you're a disruptor today, I invite you to go and attend that tomorrow at noon. Apt to today's theme of finding your way of getting involved, we're excited for that level, for the level of participation that is high for our Show Up Summit next Saturday for the Social Justice Action Team. If anyone needs childcare to attend the summit, please reach out to Mary Van Valen. Would you raise your hand? Childcare will be offered off-site. Your participation is so valued, and we'll see you next Saturday starting promptly at 9 a.m. This will be a great time for us to get together and ask ourselves, what is it that we can do? All right, well, I hope that was pretty painless for the litany of announcements today. Let's now go into singing our closing hymn together.
Would you rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine?
Gesture of please do not touch me if you're one of those people that don't like to be touched. Your hands outstretched are just fine, and those of you joining us online are also invited to do that.
Today, as we release the flame, I'm reminded of a verse from a 2010 Neil Finn song. Hey now, don't fret, it's over. Hey now, they come to build a wall between us. We know, they won't win.
And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, in the spirit of liberation for all people and each of our roles that we can play, may you be made ready to serve one another and create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, pass a little squeeze or an air five, and happy Sunday.